Okay, welcome back to Lightcraft Academy. The internet has been resolved. We're back on October 1st, but I am not entirely happy with this set. This is a reproduction of a little cozy, quaint airport terminal for Grand Aviation, the flight that we took into Kotlik, Alaska. The problem I'm seeing, if I can move over here, is there's not that way. We should have traffic on the runway or on the tarmac out there. There should be activity. I don't think a still image works, so that's going to require a brief road trip. Let's fix it. Be right back. And a road trip it is. There are two airports rather close to my home. One is on Oceanside, California. I'm going to try that one first. It's a very small single runway. Well, they're both single runway, but this is a very small local airport. Probably would work better if we're trying to emulate the small airport where Grant Aviation is based. So let's try that one. I really only need 30 seconds of a plane or planes, probably a plane or some kind of traffic on the tarmac that we can use as a backdrop through the window, the faux window of the terminal we're trying to create. So let's give this a go. And here we are at the Oceanside Airport, rather quiet here on a Tuesday morning. I think it's just a matter of waiting it out a little bit, hoping that one plane or a vehicle will pass by, maybe a couple, to really sell the shot. Okay, two planes came along very quickly. One landed in one direction, one took off on the other. I'm not sure what's going on here at the airport. Wind didn't change that much, but let's see if we can make that work. And we're back, and we've made some nice changes. We now have some motion happening out on the tarmac. This is a reproduction of a very small waiting room for Grant Aviation, this airline where you fly small airplanes onto gravel airstrips in remote parts of Alaska. We've introduced some young people, some ESKIMO young people from this small community to birch production. They had never heard of birch production before. We helped them overcome some of their anxieties about going in front of a camera. Just a tremendous, tremendous opportunity for us to introduce Jetset in a culture that's very unfamiliar with this sort of technology. Let's take a look at what we did these past few weeks. Let's begin with a quick look at our set modification. After shooting some additional footage at the local airport, I went in a Final Cut to set up a multi-track timeline. The final step later on will be to go back into Photoshop to add some blinds to the windows on the left side of the room so that we can mask the fact that you cannot see the planes that we've added to the scene through those windows. However, at this stage in the set design, you can still see those original windows. Lining up and resizing the airplane background pictures was straightforward, as was dropping out the original blue sky and adding in some clouds. Later on, we're sprucing up the final takes. We can add some ambient sound to further sell that we're in a live, small Alaskan airport waiting room. On a side note, back in the actual terminal, we were very surprised with the request that each passenger hop onto the luggage scale to get their weight, so that the pilot would have the correct weight and balance. Hopping on a luggage scale, well, that was a first for us.
So we have to weigh ourselves in just like that we did to our bags. So it's pretty funny sight Corey's doing it right now, but I was not expecting that.
And now we have a pretty convincing AI-generated virtual production set.
And
We dedicated some time in Alaska to teaching the students about virtual production in general and Jetset in particular. The students had no familiarity with this technology, and actually none of them were familiar with the Mandalorian series. As I mentioned earlier, we also knew that many of the students did not have a robust comfort zone in front of the camera, and so we convinced our chaperone and professional photographer to star in this quickly produced comedy short.
Welcome to my cabin here in Alaska. If you look out the windows, you're just going to see some green grass. That's called tundra. And on top of that tundra, you're going to find some moose. If you look out this window, you're going to see a beautiful river. And along that river, we've got some berries growing. They're picking. They're kind of like a blackberry. They're really juicy. The bears like them. They're just amazing. As you can see, I've got all the luxuries you could ever want. I've got a microwave, I've got a television, I've got a toilet, I've got a shower, I've even got all the things you could ever want to do to kill time here in Alaska.
How'd your window get broken over your left shoulder?
How did my window get broken back? Real easy. I had a Paragon Falcon that was chasing a crow, and the crow dodged, and the Paragon Falcon hit right on the window and broke it.
Nasty. Well, thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Come see me here in Alaska. It's awesome.
Jetset works so perfectly in a classroom with fluorescent lighting and a fairly dark green screen. The perfection of the green screen key right out of the camera was extraordinary, and even though most of the Alaskan students and the teacher have Android cell phones, we ordered a shiny new iPad while we were there so that our friends way up north can continue to explore virtual production. And that brings us to the end of this lesson. October, the theme for Lightcraft Academy in October will be really answering some of your most frequently asked questions. I get a lot of emails. I tend to answer specific to that specific person. But I think so much of these great questions you're asking are really relevant for teachers and just other users of the app. So I'll be devoting this next month to answering your questions. I have plenty. I have tons. But I would welcome if you have any new questions. Certainly would like to address your questions, things that you're working on, ideas that you have as well. As always, I always ask you, please subscribe to this channel. Thanks so much. We'll be back in just a few days. Take care.